DeSanto Propane is 4 generations strong as a trustworthy, family-owned business with unmatched customer service. Go online at DeSantoPropane.com for more info or call toll-free at 1-800-752-4574 today. Since 1937, the difference has been DeSanto Propane.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Against the Boards. Chamberlain Bauder here with you for another episode as we talk hockey and lacrosse in Western New York. Starting things off with the Amerks, of course, coming up this weekend, final 3 games of the regular season. Final home game of the regular season comes up tomorrow, and the magic number now is only 1. Since we last talked, the Amerks played twice. They lost both games in regulation, and yet Belleville and Utica have done so bad that the required number of points has gone down for the Amerks to clinch a playoff spot. So they literally need to get to overtime once in the next 3 games, and they will clinch the 5th spot in the North, and that will be that. They'll be wearing some fun throwbacks jerseys for this Friday, as it's their fan appreciation night and throwback night for 2000s. I think they look absolutely gorgeous. I think personally, when you get like a red, white, and blue design and you add a little bit of black into it, it really does a lot to make that blue and red pop more. I don't know what it is, but it looks absolutely stunning. I love how they turned out. Should be fun. And I mean, we said it last week too, right? It's a full weekend of lacrosse and hockey up around here in New York. So if the Amerks don't clinch that playoff spot on Friday night, they've got 2 more chances to go to overtime on Saturday and Sunday this week. And then meanwhile, for the Knighthawks, they will be in Georgia on Saturday and then heading home to finish off their season on Sunday for Native American Heritage Night at Blue Cross Arena. Just some quick logistical things in terms of Amerks. If they clinch, for reference, Utica still needs 11 points out of the close of their season to even clinch. So if is a crazy statement. There's still a chance that even without a win through the rest of the season, the Amerks could make the playoffs. But ultimately, 21st and 22nd are when the play-in games are scheduled to start. So they will likely play a Tuesday or Wednesday game. I think it'll depend on kind of the decision of, is one day enough break? In the AHL, usually one day is enough break for them to say, all right, strap them up, you're going on Tuesday, go up to Toronto, play in Toronto on Tuesday and Thursday, and then come back for a Saturday game. Not saying that is what the schedule is. I'm just saying that's how quick they'll spit it out and be ready for us to have that schedule. And of course, it'll be against the Toronto Marlies for the Amerks, and they are going to have to flip a type of gear. Most times when we talk about the Amerks at this time of year, they've been playing playoff hockey and they've been in it and, getting to this point to be in a clinching spot 2 weeks ago. This season, it's been a lot of reinforcements coming in at different times, a lot of changes to the lineup, not a whole lot of consistency all around, but ultimately when you kind of, take a glance from that step back, it's what's going to happen when the NHL team is good, especially when they're the absolute wagon that they happen to be right now in Buffalo. And of course, that's going to be coming up pretty soon here as well. On Sunday, that will be in the cards as the Buffalo Sabres have clinched a playoff spot. And bear with me as I type it in here, and I didn't have it immediately dropped in. Of course, they're playing the Bruins in the first round. It is either Saturday or Sunday is the slate right now. I won't lie, personally, hoping that it is a Saturday game. has not been set yet, but it will be the Bruins at the Buffalo Sabres. And it's just so crazy to think about that team. I mean, even having injuries right now going through their lineup, they're still just a wagon, an absolute wagon. And when that happens, that means you lose guys like your Josh Duns and your Noah Ostlins and for parts of time, Consta Hellenius and your captain in Zach Mensa. It's just going to happen, right? Like they're going to go up when a team is doing well and changing their lines and having injuries and whatnot. It's inevitable. With that said, so many Amerks games have just come down to 7-4, 6-3, 5-2. Just such a wide range and high margin of goals. It'll be interesting to see what playoff hockey looks like for this specific Amerks team. And we'll know next week. So ultimately, it's coming right around the corner. Cleveland Monsters tomorrow, again, 2000s throwback night. They will be wearing specialty jerseys for that one. And then 2 more chances if they don't get an overtime stretch and a 1-point clinch out of it. They've got 2 more chances to do it after Friday before the end of the season. But that's going to do it for our Amerks talk. Of course, when they are, on the road next week, we'll talk about that even more. And we'll get into, game recaps and whatnot and breakdowns and hopefully a video breakdown for you as well. But, yeah, I mean, right now, Amerks is the weirdest coast into the playoffs I've ever seen. It's like you go into this last week, it's like, cool, we need 1 win and we need 1 overtime. And didn't come last week. But ultimately, with so few games left for everyone and other teams needing more points, it's ripe for the taking when you only need 1. So that's how it slates for the Amerks. And of course, the Knighthawks playoff potential is over after San Diego defeated Georgia on Sunday last week. The second that happened, pretty much San Diego had more wins than the Knighthawks did on the season. And because of that, the head-to-head no longer became relevant, moved up in the playoff spot, and knocked the Knighthawks out. That sets us up for today. Big thanks to my producer, Paul Russo, for getting us up and running. And without further ado, I'll pass it over to Spencer for the rest of Against the Boards.
Rear against the Knighthawks. Buffalo with a 2-0 lead here in the opening minutes of quarter number 1. Here come the Knighthawks with a score. Zed Williams in a familiar location on the floor, and he is a man that is a thorn in Buffalo's side. And Zed Williams with his 20. Jensen, half-brother to Josh Byrne, leaving the ball off, and now the offense goes to work. Connor Fields in from the top of the slot area. Feed pass, low drive, score! Knighthawks.
And Lanchberry had all the time to just tee this one up on the feed from Connor Fields, and he was not going to miss beating Matt Vince there for Rochester's second goal of the game.
Connor Fields got some real estate to move. There's a shot that goes wide by McConvey. Rebound Fields. Sick play, shot, score! Knighthawks.
Beautiful tic-tac-toe play there from the Rochester power play, and I think it went Fields, McConvey to Blaze Reardon, and Reardon buries the quick stick. The Rochester area native fair
up with it, and he'll turn on the speed. He's got Tutton with him at right. However, fresh forces from the near bench, and the Knighthawks on the attack. Scores. How about 88? Jake Pacino again.
Position by the Rochester Knighthawks there to create that goal.
Yeah, the extracurricular activity. Knighthawks, McConvey leaving it over to Ryan. Smash, scores!
And again, sticks getting up between McKay and Zed Williams after the goal.
Rochester goal.
As the feed, Ryan Smith, good pick there good screen from Zed Williams in front of Matt.
Knighthawks fell to Buffalo on Saturday night by a final score of 12-6.
The Knighthawks offense just could not get anything going all night long. It started early on with Rochester going down in this game. It was already 2-0 before Zed Williams scored off a post and in shot that got by Matt Vince to make it 2-1. Buffalo would score 3 more again before Rochester would get back on the board, with Ryan Lansbury making a 5-2 game. Shortly after, Blaze Reardon got the only power play goal of the night for the K-Hawks, making it a 2-goal game at 5-3. And then a little before the half, Buffalo went on another 2-goal run, and then Jake Pacino on what could have been his second of the night, but his first goal got taken off the board due to a crease violation. It was a 7-4 lead for Buffalo at halftime. And the offensive struggles continued during the entire second half. Ryan Smith with the only goal in the third quarter, and then Blaze Reardon with the only goal in the fourth quarter. Buffalo went on to score 5 goals in the second half, winning this one 12-6. Post-game, I was honored to be able to go down into the tunnel, and unfortunately, Blaze Reardon came out of the medical room with a cast on, so that's something to keep an eye on for this weekend, as it is the final week of the season, as the Knighthawks were eliminated from playoff contention. In the NL, you are not going to win many lacrosse games, only scoring 6 goals, and the Knighthawks found that out the hard way this past weekend. One of the, I'd say, 2 positives from this game was the Knighthawks' defense when it comes to taking penalties. Rochester only had 1 penalty that resulted in Buffalo going a man up, but they scored on it. So the positive was, obviously you didn't take a lot of penalties, but again, the penalty kill has been abysmal all year, and it was again in this game. The second and main positive takeaway from this game was number 49, Rylan Hartley. He got the start in this one and was never taken out of this game. He was phenomenal for Rochester, keeping them in this game really the whole time. During the game, I noticed, I think there was either 3 or 4 goals that, honestly, Hartley would probably want back. He had most of it, made the big first save, but then the ball just trickled by him and ended up in the back of the net. And those are 2 or 3 at the end of the game that can really flip it. And with the amount of times the Knighthawks offense hit the post, especially early on in the game, if a couple of those fall and you get a couple of those saves back, you're looking at a 1 or 2 goal game in this one. Hartley had 42 saves on 53 shots. A very good night for number 49. Just under a sub-80 save percentage in this one, which is very good in the NLL, as we've talked about all year long. We mentioned earlier that the Knighthawks are now officially eliminated from playoff contention after the loss in Buffalo. So this weekend, a doubleheader that will start on Saturday afternoon in Georgia against the Swarm. And then after that game, the boys will get on a plane and head back home to Rochester for the Sunday afternoon game, 3 o'clock start in downtown Rochester at the Blue Cross Arena. With that being said, and now the season is essentially over, in this last weekend, I'd like to see a couple different things happen. I'd like to see 2 guys on the practice squad get called up and get some game reps, with one being goaltender Cam McLeod. Clowder is now on his 3rd NLL team. He was originally drafted to, I believe, the Panther City Lacrosse Club in 2022. He played there 2022, 2023, and 2024 before the franchise folded. Last year and the start of this year, he was with the Calgary Roughnecks. And then in, I think it was, February, when Rylan Hartley decided to make the hit on Seth Charbonnet, resulting in a suspension, the Knighthawks had to go out and pick up another goaltender. They ended up picking up McLeod for the week that Hartley was suspended. In his career, he has a 75.2 save percentage to go along with a 6-8 record. All 6 of his wins in his NLL career came last year in Calgary, where he hosted a 6-4 record in 10 games. Another guy I'd love to see is rookie defenseman Mitchell Dunlap. Mitch is a guy I've really enjoyed watching at the morning shoot-arounds this season. He is a monster of a human being. Mitch is 6'5", 220 pounds, a big body in that back end that I really think the Knighthawks needed at times this season. Another guy who's been up and down, whether it's been on the practice roster or the active roster, getting some game time, is Adam Thistlethwaite. When he's been on the floor, he's been pretty good in my opinion. I think this weekend would be a great time to get all three of those young guys on the floor, get them some game reps, and some tape to look at in the offseason. And now we're going to move ahead to our final weekend preview of the season. The Knighthawks have 2 games this weekend, both against the Georgia Swarm. Georgia is currently sitting at 10-6 in the standings after losing last week to the San Diego Seals. That result with San Diego is what officially eliminated the Knighthawks from playoff contention. Offensively, Georgia is led by Shane Jackson and Lyle Thompson, who have 69 and 66 points apiece. This Georgia team has a couple of stud rookies that have been really good for this team this season. Nolan Byrne and Michael Grace have been phenomenal for the Swarm and helping them try to get to that championship category. In net, it has been the Brett Dobson show all season long, the leader in the MVP category across the entire league and for goaltender of the year. When you're talking about Brett Dobson, you can't help but bring up the Knighthawks interim head coach Randy Mearns. Both of those guys were a part of those very good teams at St. Bonaventure right after COVID. Those two led the Bonnies to a MAAC conference championship in the regular season. Dobson and Mearns have a history together, so this will be an interesting game to see if Mearnsy can help the Knighthawks by giving them any extra keys when going against Brett Dobson. One of the bonuses for the Knighthawks, Brett Dobson currently has a 1-4 record against Rochester. The Knighthawks have been able to figure him out. They've been one of the few teams that have had success against Dauber. Out of all the teams in the NLL, Dobson has the second lowest save percentage against this Knighthawks group at 74.4. For whatever reason, Rochester has been very successful against Dobson and will need to keep that going for now, not just one game, but 2 games this weekend. In the season finale and final home game of the season on Sunday, April 19th, it will be Native American Heritage Night presented by Seneca Niagara Resort and Casino. As we've mentioned way earlier in the season, after the Seneca Nation bought the team, the biggest moment in Knighthawks history, keeping them here in the Flower City. This is the Seneca's opportunity to really give back to their land and their people on the nation. The Knighthawks will be rocking beautiful teal and purple uniforms, giving a little shout out back to the franchise that was here before. It'll be a fun day at the Blue Cross Arena. A lot of festivities for the fans that will be there. Couple of giveaways. Couple of native dance groups will be in the building performing throughout the game. And overall, just a game that where we can sit back and say thank you to the Seneca Nation for saving the Knighthawks and honor the Creators Game and the traditions that have been passed down through generations. The gorgeous looking jerseys, shorts, and warm-up t-shirts are available for auction for anybody who's interested in purchasing them. We will talk again next week, and once again, thank you for listening to this episode of Against the Boards.